All right, in this video, I want to go over the 1958 Cetme bayonet. I'm not going over the rifle in this episode. In my next episode, I'll make sure to go over the rifle and everything. But in this one right here, I want to go over the bayonet. A lot of people may think bayonets are outdated and everything. The last bayonet charge done in the United States was done in Korea around 1951. The last time that people really ever saw bayonets used in combat. But I can tell you, as an infantryman that was trained at Fort Benning, we trained with the bayonet and fighting on a regular basis. When I went to Fort Ord, my first duty station, it was the 7th Infantry Division, known as the Bayonet Division. And we trained on a regular basis there with bayonets. In 1992, during the LA riots, 1-9 Infantry from the 7th Infantry Division deployed into the LA streets, armed with bayonets. And within a few days, the LA riots were put to rest. Let's go inside and take a look at this Cetme bayonet that's a lot different than the US bayonet and kind of set the standard for things going forward. All right, so let's go over the M58 Cetme bayonet. Originally they came in green, like this one right here. The one I originally showed on my rifle was dyed black and everything. The green went with the furniture, the Cetme. They had green hand guards, green plastic grips, depending if you wanted to mount a wider grip or a bipod on them. And then also the green butt stocks, but we'll get into that stuff later on. Right now I just want to go over the basic Cetme real quick. We'll go over this one. The blade itself is 9 inches long, and overall length is going to be 13 inches. And it has, they call it kind of like a Bolo blade, but it kind of has that curve, kind of like the Gurkha fighting knives and stuff like that. So if you do kind of hacking or cutting stuff, it'll draw a little bit more belly on the flesh or whatever you're cutting away at. It does mount on the muzzle of the weapon, and on the Cetme, on the Spanish ones, it's a square cutout here. They did make some, they were Guatemalan. The Guatemalan ones are circular, and they're not going to have the checkering and everything on the handguards. They're going to be kind of smooth, and the back here is going to be round. Basically, you have a locking release right here that you push in on, and it allows it to lock on to the rifle and everything if you want to mount it as that. If not, then you can also use it for regular hacking or hand tasks and everything, and it's a pretty decent bayonet overall for the quality of it. The blade thickness, it's pretty thick. Sharpness, you got to sharpen them up a bit. This one right here isn't sharp. The other one's a little sharper that I have. They came with the standard sheath. The sheath has a tie off for it if you want and everything. They call this part the frog right here. And the frog has a loop part right here that you can slide through. They also have little danglers you could clip on and everything. But this part right here is called the frog. And this is the sheath itself. It'll fit in either way, whether you put it in this way or flip it over the other way. It really doesn't matter that much. The markings on them, they had different markings. This one right here probably won't show up that well. Trying to see if I can see it on here. I think it has ET, but the ET I believe that's going to be on here is for their infantry, or the foot soldiers were marked with ET. And then they had, I believe, FN, which was their naval side. So the contracts they did, majority of them were for their foot soldiers and infantry that are marked, I believe, ET. And then FN is going to be what they're marked if they're for the Navy and everything. But that just kind of distinguishes the two different ones that were made. Same basic contract, same basic make, just how they stamped them and everything. On the Spanish ones, they're going to have the coat of arms stamped on both sides, and then whatever the numbers are, I don't know if they're serial numbers or what they are, but they don't have them on the sheaths. They just have them on the blades themselves. This one right here, this is the one I dyed black. You might be able to see the crest a little better on here. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a picture and throw the picture up a little bit better so you can see it. But this is one right here I just made black because it looks better with the black stuff, and I have another one to add to the green and everything. After World War II, or towards the end of World War II, is when bayonets kind of went from being the long pokey sticks they were to more of the fighting style knives and everything. Different countries went up with different stuff. I have a whole bunch of other bayonets here to go over, but being that I was in the 7th Infantry Division, the bayonet division, that I was an infantryman and did different bayonet courses and everything, I happen to like bayonets. Some people think that they don't serve a huge purpose. When dealing with stuff like riot control and military type operations, they're good, but you do want to have training in it. And then you also kind of want to use bayonets when you have a bunch of people. Normally your bayonet people will be up front on the front lines to kind of hold the line, get people back. If you're going to push someone back with like a rifle or something, pointing it towards them, they're not going to be able to grab the barrel and do something silly. They're going to slice their hand open, and most people are going to be worried about getting stabbed or something like that. So the bayonets are good up in the front lines, and then the people behind them can have rifles and pistols ready to shoot over them if need be, if something happens. Anytime we deployed and we had bayonets, like for the LA riots and stuff like that, weapons were locked and loaded. We had selector switches that went over our M16A2s so that we could only fire a single shot. So you couldn't rotate it all the way around. However, as our squad leaders and platoon sergeant showed us, you could actually take your thumb and pop that metal piece off if you needed to. Luckily, none of those major incidences happened. Everybody pretty much saw us with our Manchu hairdos, 1-9 infantry, look kind of like maybe something from the Predator or something like that. It had long hair and stuff like that. I'll see if maybe I can find a photo and put it up, but our helmets kind of stood out compared to other people and everything. Real interesting history to the light fighters and stuff that went on in 7th ID. Tom Clancy wrote about it a bit, I believe, in Clear and Present Danger and some other stuff, but it's kind of a neat thing going on at the military back then. A lot more aggressive, a lot more focused on Mout and Central America fighting the drug cartels. Eventually it kind of went away with Bill Clinton, and now we have a situation where drugs freely cross the border and everything. Just to go over some of the different bayonets, like I said, this is the Cetme one that was originally designed for the Cetme rifle and adapted for the G3 and HK91 type rifles. The US bayonet, M9 Probus that's used. Not really a great bayonet. I mean, it's a good tool. It has wire cutters and other stuff. And this right here is the AK-47 bayonet. I actually like the AK-47 bayonet. At the end here, I'll show you one that I carried in Iraq, but I ended up with a whole bunch of these. I used to give them away as gifts and everything. Actually, I'll go over a couple bayonets at the end here for the AK ones. Just to go over, for those not familiar, normally you're going to have a scabbard. The scabbard's going to be the part that the bayonet itself fits into and holds it just like you would a sheath or something else, but that's called the scabbard part. And then you also have what's called the frog part, and the frog part's what hangs off it. If you end up dealing like with the M9 bayonets, you're going to have the sheath and then the frog that hangs down on it and everything. So it's just kind of to distinguish it. Some people don't always necessarily know what the nomenclatures or parts are on things, and it's a way to go over it. On this AK1 right here, the frog part's going to be the leather part that can pop off, and the regular hard plastic part is going to be the scabbard part itself. But there's different configurations and different things. Let me go ahead and close you guys out here. I'll close you out with the AK-47 bayonet. This one right here is in the packaging and everything. My unit in Iraq, we were given these as kind of gifts by the unit or whatever it was. Some stuff was worked out so that we each got a brand new in the wrapper bayonet and everything. While I was over in Iraq, we ended up getting a bunch of different bayonets, getting them off people, buying them and stuff like that. But this one right here is one I picked up. Just has the scabbard itself. It can kind of fit into a vest and stuff like that. Easy to carry. It's real thin and simple. Wrapped it up with paracord and everything, and kind of sharpened and polished the blade a little bit, I guess, with the sharpening of it and everything. But it does work with wire cutters and stuff like that are kind of neat. Similar to the US one, but I believe these are a lot stronger and sturdier. I've broken a lot of US bayonets. Haven't broken these. The Cetme bayonet's kind of neat with its curved blade, more of a true fighting bushcrafting type one on the Cetme side. On the AK ones, they're more fighting ones and everything. But I hope this is just a little overview of the Cetme and bayonets in general and everything. Hope you enjoy this video. If you would, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Until next time, Cav Cop out.